everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here today. Today's video is another full face one brand video. I've really been enjoying doing these, so I think I'm just gonna continue. Today's brand, as you saw in the title, is Milani. If you don't know much about Milani, it is a drugstore brand. It's a little higher end on as far as pricing at the drugstore, but it is still definitely a drugstore brand. You can find them at Walmart, and you know, for me, like if you can find it at like a CVS or a Walmart, that's kind of what I classify as drugstore. But it is a really cool brand, and I started trying a lot of this stuff like a month ago. Up until then, I really had not tried a lot of it. It just didn't interest me a ton, and I was just like, you know, I'm more familiar with a lot of the other brands at the drugstore, such as, you know, L'Oreal, Maybelline, Wet n Wild, Physician Formula, those kinds of things. They're just comfortable. Why did I say that weird? Look, I haven't spoken to anybody else today yet. That's where we're at. I've had no social interaction today, so I might be kind of weird. As I was saying, I hadn't tried a lot of this stuff up until about a month ago. I actually was really interested in some of the new products that they had just recently brought out, and so that kind of made me want to try more from this brand. Then I just kind of decided to do a full face. So I'm really excited about this. Before we get into it, make sure that if you haven't yet, that you subscribe to my YouTube channel and that you ring the bell so that you can be notified when I upload videos, which is usually on Fridays. Sometimes it's Saturdays when we get a little behind time-wise, but you know, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. You know what I'm talking about. Make sure you do that. And also make sure that you follow me on social media. I'll pop that up right here below me so you can follow me there. And I think that's everything I wanted to say before we just, yeah, let's get into it. Cool. Today, I think I'm actually gonna start with the eyes just because, I don't know, I feel like it and my eczema is really bad and I'm just delaying putting makeup on it. Anyway, so we're gonna start with the eyes, and I actually even have an eyeshadow primer from Milani. This is the Milani eyeshadow primer. Pretty basic. I am just gonna go ahead and prep my eyes. Now I'm gonna just blend that in with a brush. Okay, while we wait for that to dry down, let's talk about the eyeshadow palettes that I have here. I have two from Milani. Their eyeshadow palettes are actually quite popular. I had heard a lot about them. I heard they're really good formulas. And they actually have really big palettes for the drugstore. I've noticed that a lot of drugstore palettes are quite small. And so these are like the biggest ones that you can find, honestly, in your local drugstores. So I have two here. I have the Milani Gilded Gold and a newer one that actually just came out a couple months ago, Milani, the Gilded Terra palette. Now, the Gilded Gold, it looks like this, and it's actually like a Color Story dupe pretty exactly of the Natasha Denona Gold palette, if you know or care anything about that. But this is the exact same Color Stories that has a lot of really pretty shades, and it really warms with those pops of like these tealy blue greens. Really warms, did I say really warms? Warm tones, whatever. And then the Gilded Terra that recently came out is more colorful. So it says it has earth tones, which I don't find a lot of purple in the earth, so that's a little weird, but, and these aren't necessarily the greens that I think of when I think of earth tones, but whatever. Basically it has some warm orangey browns, a little pop of yellow and gold, and then some greens and a couple purples. So it's nice. I think I might use this today because I haven't really used it. I think I used it like one time, and I used this one. I've used this one a few times and I quite like it. Maybe we'll dip between, I don't know, because they do have, I mean, they're both like warmer toned palettes, you know? They both have these warm browns as the base and then some golds and stuff like that, but they're kind of similar anyway. I'm gonna start out in the Gilded Terra palette, and I'm gonna dip in to this cream shade. It's really white up here to kind of just set down my eye primer and create a nice base. The way that this eyeshadow primer dries down actually quite reminds me a lot of the Urban Decay Primer Potion as far as the formula, and I quite like it. But I'm just gonna put down a little bit of this white cream on the transition kind of area. Just makes it a little bit easier to blend if you have an eyeshadow formula, a powder formula already down. Makes it a little easier to blend on top of with other colors and gives you a nicer blend and gradient. I feel like I've been kind of basic on my channel lately, so I feel like I should like go colorful. What do you guys think? I wish that I could like ask you. I've done purple recently enough with Valentine's Day, kind of, so I won't do purple. Maybe green. I don't think I've done green since my Thanksgiving look, and that was like an olive, really warm green, and these are much more like foresty greens. There's only one green matte in here, but these two shimmers are really nice, so I think I'll just build up some browns maybe, and then, yeah, move into the green. So I think maybe I'll just stick with the Gilded Terra, because I feel bad dipping between, because I want you guys to be able to like, you know, get the look that I'm doing here in my video by just getting like this palette, and you don't have to buy both of them. So I think that's what we'll do. So let us begin. I'm gonna dip into Slow Burn, which is this middle shade in the top row here. See how this goes. And I'm just gonna start blending this into my crease. Just gonna go over this with my first brush that doesn't have any extra product on it, just has a little bit of that cream pigment on it. Soften that edge. I've kind of been playing with the idea of doing my eyes first more often. People do it if they're into like a colorful eye look or really intense something, so that you don't get as much fallout kind of a thing usually. But I mean, I'm not really worried about that. Okay, next I'm gonna start dipping into this shade over here in the corner. It's called Road to Nowhere. Cool. Initially I'm gonna dip back and forth between Slow Burn and Road to Nowhere, just to kind of slowly transition so I don't get ahead of myself, you know? And I'm gonna keep that a little bit lower than I initially placed Slow Burn, not blending it up quite as high. You know, they put these green shades in here, and I don't know how these mattes really work with the greens they put in here, but we'll see. Not what I would pick as far as matte colors for those green shades. Now I'm gonna just slowly build up that shade Road to Nowhere, just on my outer lid, adding some of the depth into my outer crease and lid, and blending it in kind of on my lid to start creating that nice gradient for where I'm gonna place the lid color. I will say these shadows do have quite a bit of kick up in the pans when I press my brush in, when I just tap my brush into them. I don't find that it gives me more or less fallout than any other shadow, so. Okay, I'm gonna go back with the first brush that I used that shade Slow Burn on. I'm not gonna add any product. I'm just gonna blend the transition in the crease area, kind of just to soften. I'm good with that. Okay, I'm gonna take a flat but fluffy brush, the little pinch ones, and I'm gonna dip into this deepest brown right there called Branch Out, because it's like the color of wood, like a tree. I don't know. I'm just gonna lightly tap into that just on like the side of my brush here. And I'm gonna just take that on my outer lid, because this is quite a deep shade. So you just wanna slowly, slowly, slowly build it up so we don't get too much. And then I'm turning the brush to, you know, the end, and just lightly, where there's not like a lot of pigment there, I placed it on the side and not on the tip. I'm just gonna lightly blend that through my crease a little bit. Just like that. And now I'm just gonna go back with the other brush that I was just blending with previously and go over where I brought that into the crease, so that, say it with me, we get a nice gradient. Just like that. Do the same thing on the other eye. Now that brown is a little bit more cool toned, which I think will fit the greens a lot nicer. Now that's where I'm gonna leave with the browns. The question is, do I wanna add this matte deep green? I didn't think that it would work with, if I blended it with those oranges, it would just turn brown. It would just look brown, because it is so deep and because those colors are just gonna kind of muddle together. So as far as green lid options, I have these two here. This bottom one is called Like a Moss, and the top one is called Sage Advice. They do say that there are several different textures within this palette, not just like matte and shimmers. You have obviously the mattes, and then you have satins like this pinky shade here. It has pinky purple. It has a bit of a shimmer to it, but it's not a metallic. I'd say Take a Hike is kind of similar as well. A little bit more metallic, but still not very, has a bit of a sheen to it. And I think that in these two green colors, the case would be, yeah, that the bottom one, Like a Moss, is a little bit more satiny than metallic, and the Sage Advice shade is a bit more metallic. You can kind of see there. They are quite similar in shade. I think Sage Advice is gonna be the way to go because it's a bit warmer. It's not quite as cool toned. I do like a lot of these gold shades as well. These would look really pretty with it. Actually, you know what would look really pretty is this shade right here called Take a Hike. It's also more of a, not as glittery of a metallic. It's more of like a satiny metallic, but it's, you know, right in that orangey brown vein. And that brown shade below it called Spruce Up would also be really nice for a softer one. And then you have these two gold shades. This shade Weekender is more of the softer metallic, and it's quite yellow, which would look nice. And then you have this shade over here on the end called Glamping, which is like a really intense, glittery metallic. You can see the difference kind of there. So any of those would be pretty, but those would just be so basic. Would this look good? I don't know. I'm just gonna, yeah, I think it's kind of cool. We can go with it. And these are very like creamy and spreadable and very buildable as well, which I think is nice. Yeah, that looks cool. If it doesn't, oh well. So that's where the finger took it. Now I'm gonna take it on a small flat brush. I'm gonna spray it with my setting spray. And we're gonna really amp up this pigment. This is gonna make it a bit more fuller coverage, more pa-pow. Yeah. Now I kinda got some up here in my crease where I didn't mean to, so I'm just gonna take a Q-tip and we're just gonna lightly blend that away. Look at that. And yeah, I did just lick my Q-tip. That is the best makeup tool. So now that we've got that all applied, I'm gonna go back in with that flat fluffy brush and go into the deepest brown that we used and do the same thing I normally do, is where I just kind of take it over the edges where that metallic shade ends, just so we get a nice seamless blend. We don't have any like stark lines or seams. It just all kind of blends and fades together, just like that. That looks cool, very fun. That's the Gilded Terra palette, really nice. I think if you're more of an everyday kind of gal, the Gilded Gold is gonna be the one for you. They also have one called the Gilded Nude. So if you're really, really nude, kind of like blushy tones, I think it's more of like a blushy tone nude. And this is more of like a warm nudes. So, you know, whatever you feel. And if you're a colorful gal, the Gilded Terra, it's really nice. I think this formula is really pretty. I've had no issues with it at all. I think it wears really nicely. I think it's like one of the most impressive formulas I've seen at the drugstore. So I quite enjoy it. Now before we move into the face, I'm gonna go ahead and start building up the mascara because you guys know how I do. I'm gonna be using the Milani Highly Rated mascara. I've actually really been enjoying this mascara recently. It's just a classic, like basic bristle brush, nothing super special or anything about it, but it really separates, adds length and volume to my lashes. I've really been liking it quite a lot actually, and I haven't found it to be super smudgy or flaky. So okay, that's one layer of the mascara. Let's go into the face. First we're gonna start with primer. And now the primer I have here today to use is actually a new one from them. It is called the Brightside primer. This is an illuminating primer. Milani actually just came out with a ton of primers, like a whole line of all these different kinds of primers. And so whatever your needs are, they have one for you. This is a really nice primer. It's just like a glowy primer. It's just kind of like the classic Glotion. Has a bit of shimmer to it. It's moisturizing, looks dewy and nice. It's thin and it's gel-like. It feels really nice on the skin. You know, I just got it in my hair. We're gonna pretend that did not happen. So it just gave my skin a nice little glow. Nice and glowy and dewy, just how I like to be on the reg. So I have two base products here, foundation products here from Milani that I really enjoy. One is the Milani Screen Queen Foundation. Now this came out last year, year before. It's been out for a while. It's really, really pretty and I quite like it. It's a natural finish. It's not super dewy. It's not matte. And it's super high coverage. I'd say it's a medium to full. And that's just, you know, for me who doesn't really do full coverage. So, and the other thing I have is new and actually kind of started this whole process of me being really interested in Milani products. This and one other thing. But this is the new Milani Glow Hydrating Skin Tint. It says it has 29% squalane in it, which squalane's great for your skin. This is a really beautiful skin tint product. They only have 4 or 5 shades, but they are spread quite evenly. And this is very, 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 very light coverage. It is definitely true to being a skin tint, so light coverage. I have the shade 110, Fair to Light. It's very dewy. It's very, very, very sheer coverage. So if that's the kind of thing you like, you're in the right place. You're here with me. So I'm gonna apply a little bit of this kind of as my all over base, and I think I'm gonna add, or maybe I should mix. I'm kind of considering both. I thought about this multiple times. I think I am gonna mix because I want a little bit more coverage today because my skin is just on the struggle bus. So I think that's what we're gonna do. So I am gonna put a bit of each onto the back of my hand. We're gonna mix it together real good. And I'm gonna add some of that to my skin. And I'm just gonna use my sponge to blend that in. And I'm kind of mixing these together, hoping that they'll give me a nice solid light to maybe medium coverage. And Milani does have one other foundation that's like their original foundation that I've heard is like the fullest coverage. So they really do have something for everybody there as far as base products. See, now look at that. A sheer layer of glowy gorgeousness, but we're gonna keep adding some coverage here where my eczema is popping. Yeah, this is giving me a solid light coverage, which is exactly what I was hoping for. That is beautiful. I've never mixed these two together before, and I'm gonna be doing it a lot more often from now on, I can tell you that for sure, because this, what a pretty base. I'm so excited. Because I'm telling you guys, the skin tint, it is sheer coverage. And then this is like a really nice medium. I'd say solid medium, probably could build it to full. And together, they are just, it's magic. I'm so excited. Moving on to another very exciting product. But kind of this is a project as well, because you guys know that the Becca Under Eye Corrector is like one of my favorite products of all time. It is dewy and perfection and beautiful. And I did bring up recently in a full face of first impressions like drugstore that I did recently, I think. But I compared the Flower Beauty Under Eye Corrector to this, and it was a little bit more peachy and a little bit more dry as far as texture, because you guys know this Becca corrector, it is dewy, it is reflective and hydrating, as you can see there in the pot. But recently, Milani came out with all these new things, and part of that was this little product right here, the Milani Supercharged Brightening Under Eye Tint. And they actually have quite a good shade range in this. There are 4 shades of it, which is decent for an under eye corrector because there's only one other shade of this. But there are 4 shades here, and I got the lightest because this shade, it's the same shade, you guys. So if you want an actual dupe for this product, I think I've found it. I don't know that the textures are the exact same, but we're getting close. Look at this. Okay, these are so light, so you can really barely see them on my skin. Yes, so the Becca one is here, and then this is the Milani one, and the Milani one is a bit thinner because it, you know, it's in a squeezy tube, so the formula is definitely gonna be a lot thinner than what they put into the pot here. But they are so similar as far as shade, and it is a dewy finish, the same as the Becca one. The only difference that I found so far is the texture. Just the Milani one's a bit thinner in texture and the Becca one is thicker. I'm very excited about this discovery so that I can have a nice affordable option for you guys. And there are, as I said, I think 4 shades in it. There's this light, this is the lightest one, which is 110 Pink Rose. And then there's a light peach and then a medium peach and a deep peach, I believe. I'm just gonna pop this on my under eye the same way I do with the Becca. I'm just gonna start spreading this to my inner corners. I'm just gonna lightly blend that out. Yeah, this is just so similar actually. I love it when I find exact dupes of things that I love that are expensive and then find something that's way less expensive that's the same. Very, very exciting. So if you are as into this Becca Under Eye Corrector as I am, run to your nearest Ulta and find this. It's great. Okay, now I'm gonna go into concealer. And Milani has a really great concealer. You don't necessarily even need a corrector because this sucker is full coverage. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Longwear Concealer. And I really like this concealer. It is full coverage, as I said, so you only need a little bit. It doesn't have a super matte drying finish. It's a really, really nice creamy kind of finish. And I really enjoy this one. This is something that I had tried before from Milani, but originally I had a shade that was really too light. And this one is almost too deep. It's more of my summer shade, but that's okay. I'm initially gonna blend this out with my finger just to get it spread to the places that I want it to be. Now you could use a brush for this, but I just prefer my fingers, especially for something this full coverage, so that I can make it a bit thinner by using the warmth of my fingers. And I'm spreading it down because I don't want there to just be these full coverage like under eyes. I want it to kind of fade evenly around my face a bit. Now I'm gonna go in with my sponge and press that in. There we go. That is some concealed under eyes, and as you guys can see, it is really, really full coverage. Really covered me up. I'm gonna add another layer of mascara, and then we're gonna go into the under eyes, the lower lash line of eyeshadow. Let's do that. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the lower lash line, and I'm just gonna do exactly same things that we did on the lid here. I'm gonna start out with slow burn here on my lower lash line with a little flat, fluffy brush. Now I'm gonna go in with a pencil brush, and I'm gonna take the next deepest orangey brown that we used up here in the corner called Road to Nowhere. And I'm gonna focus this starting in the middle of my lower lash line and towards the outer corner. I'm not gonna bring this all the way in because when I add depth to the outer part of my eye, that's gonna pull them out and make them a little bit more almond shaped because my eyes are quite round. And now I'm gonna take a small pencil brush and take that deepest brown down here at the bottom called Branch Out. And I'm gonna run that right up against my lash line. And again, not bringing that all the way in, just bringing it about 1/3 of the way. Now I'm gonna go back in with the first brush that I used on my lower lash line, and I'm just gonna blend over that just to make sure all the edges are nice and soft. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna add another layer of mascara and add some mascara also to my lower lashes. Alrighty, so now we're gonna move into brows, and I have 3 brow products here. The one thing that Milani does not have, to my knowledge, is a tinted brow gel, which you guys know is my typical first step in my brow routine. So we're just gonna skip that today and go straight into the pencil. And this is a really, really great brow pencil, you guys. This is just their Precision Brow Pencil. And they have quite a few shades in it. And I have the shade Soft Brown. So nice little thin pencil with a spoolie on the end. And I'm gonna fill them in really quickly. Okay, so I just finished filling in my brows with the pencil. Before I set them with the gel, because I have a clear brow gel from them, I'm gonna go ahead and do the face because I find when I put my bronzer on, I always end up hitting my brows and I don't wanna hit them after I've set them and then I mess them up, blah, 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 blah. You get the point. Now we're gonna move into bronzer, and I have a powder bronzer here from Milani. These are called the Silky Matte Bronzers. These are really nice, actually. They quite remind me of the Fenty matte bronzers, powder matte bronzers from Fenty. They have quite a similar formula. I have the shade 02 Sunkissed. So these are really, really nice. I actually like them a lot. It's a really, really nice tone. So I'm just gonna bronze up my face. Okay, so that's bronzer, and next we're gonna go in with highlight. Now they don't have a cream highlight, unfortunately, so I had to go with a powder one. This is the Baked Highlighter in the shade 120. It's a champagne shade. So I'm just gonna take a small little fluffy brush. Now this is a pretty intense highlighter, so I'm just gonna apply this quite sheerly. I'm really gonna work it into the brush, tap it off, and then just start lightly blending it onto the high points of my face. And once I spray my face down with setting spray, it'll really melt in and look really pretty. Okay, now I'm gonna set my brows in, and this is the Milani Clear Brow Gel. This is really good. This is one of the best clear brow gels I found at the drugstore in a minute. It really sets, really sets down my eyebrows, and they will not move. Now see how I've gotten these little gaps in my brows where the pigment is kind of disappeared? That's why I always use a tinted brow gel. That kind of prevents that from happening because the clear brow gel can kind of brush away the pencil quite easily. So I'll go back and fix that once the gel dries all the way down. So let's move into blush. I have quite a lot of options for blush here. They have several different formulas, and I have all the cream ones here. So one is just their Cheek Kiss cream blush, and I have 3 of the shades here. This is just a cream blush in a pan. It's very thin, very balmy, very beautiful. Another one that I really love is their Cheek Kiss liquid blush, and I have the shade 110 Nude Flush here. These are so, so nice. I love these a lot as well. And the other one is one of the newer ones are the Supercharged Cheek and Lip sticks. So they are a stick cream blush, and these are also very, very nice. There's a lot of great options here. I'm mainly just gonna pick based on what's gonna go with this look the best. So let me swatch a couple. Here's the stick shades. They're very, very nice and balmy. This is the shade Peach Thrill. Nice light peachy shade. And then I have Spice Jolt, which is like a brownie kind of a color. Really nice as well. And then obviously Nude Flush is a really nice warm nude, a classic favorite color for me. And then we have these pan cream blushes. And I have 3 shades here. Nude Kiss, Coral Crush, right there next to it, much brighter. And then I have Merlot Moment, which is a really nice wine color. So here are all the blushes I have here. Obviously I have quite a warm toned, really whipped my hair just then. Quite a warm toned look. I think I'm gonna go with one of the sticks. I really, really like these cream blushes in the pans a lot. They're one of, honestly, all of these blush formulas are some of my favorite that I found at the drugstore personally. These and my e.l.f. ones, I think they're just the best, like the very best that you could probably find. I think we're gonna go with the Spice Jolt stick, which is the brown one. Now, these are really nice because they're in stick form. You can just straight up draw them on real easy. And they are sheer, so you can just be kind of liberal with your application. Just like that. And then I'm just gonna take my sponge and press that in. Really, really pretty. Just like that. These are really, really nice. I really like all of these formulas of blush. The Cheek Kiss blushes have been quite popular as of late, but I think they have really nice cream blush formulas as a whole. I think all of them are really pretty. Okay, so last thing is lips. One of my favorite categories of Milani products is their lip liners. I really, really love their lip liners. Now they have two formulas of lip liners that I have here. Yeah, these with the black caps are called the Understatement lip liners. And then these with the gold caps are called Color Statement lip liners. Now the difference is these are actual just sharpenable pencils. And then these are actually just mechanical retractable pencils. And I believe I have mentioned their lip liners on my channel before at some point in time, I'm sure. Let's look at the other lip products so then I can decide what lip liner color I'm gonna go with. So I have 3 lipstick formulas here. I think these are the 3 types of formulas they have in general. I have, this one just says Milani on it. It's Milani lipstick. And this has like a natural cream finish. I have the shade 69 Matte Beauty. And then I have their bold matte lipsticks, and I have the shade 4 I Am Smart. And then the newest addition is the Milani. It's really frustrating because they don't put names on them. Anyway, these are just like a balmy sheer lip product, and I have the shade Lustful 110. Now the other lip product I have from them are their lip glosses, and these are the Keep It Full Nourishing Lip Plumpers, and these are some of the best lip glosses ever. I think they are really, really great. If you have not tried these yet, you definitely should. They are a plumping lip gloss. They have like a minty tingle, but it's not very tingly at all. It mainly just feels minty. Nothing really intense there. So those are really pretty as well. And I have 2 shades, the shade 16 Rosy Bronze and 15 Natural Luster. So just like a really clear nude champagne-y color and then like a rosy bronze color. That's exactly what it's called. So this is the shade Lustful in the like sheer glossy lip balm kind of formula. It's that one there. It's kind of a warmish pink. And then this one is just their classic cream lipstick, more of like a mauvey brown. That was the Matte Beauty one. And then the full matte lipstick, it's really cool toned purpley in the shade I Am Smart. I know I definitely need to go in a warm direction because of the warm green orangey eyes we have here. So I'm thinking this middle one. I like the sheer lip balmy one as well, but it's a little bit too pink, I think, for this look. So I think we're gonna go with this middle one. Yeah, I think that middle one is gonna be the one, which is just their classic lipstick, the 69 Matte Beauty one. So we're gonna go with a warm lip liner. The 2 of the Color Statement lip liners I have are the shades 3 and 4, which are both, 4 is a little bit more browny, but they're both a little bit more cool toned, kind of mauvey, so maybe 4. With the Understatement lip liner, I have 3 shades. The shade 110 Nude Entrance, and then next to that is gonna be Cafe au Lait 160, which is a favorite of mine. Really, really nice, warm brownie shade. And then the last one on the end will be 170 Saucy Toffee, which is a deeper, truer brown, because I love brown lips. So there they are up close. You can really see them close and personal. Maybe I will use 04 of the Color Statement lip liners because I use these all the time. So I think I am gonna go in with 04. Am I? I'm so indecisive. Maybe I'll go in with the Saucy Toffee and make it really brown. Yeah, let's do that. That'd be fun, right? Right. Let's put it on. Yeah, that's nice. I love a green eye with a brown lip. Okay, I'm going with the lipstick. That is really nice. Last thing, fix the brows, kind of like I said I would. The last thing I have here to show you guys is a brow pen from Milani. This is called the Weekend Brow Eyebrow Tint. And I have the shade 120 Soft Brown. I like this pen okay. I'm a little weird with brow pens because they're just not consistent enough for me, I think. They kind of, you know, do a couple good strokes and then you have to wait for a while before they're as pigmented as they were. They're just not as consistent for me, I find. But I do like them for this purpose that I'm using it for right now, which is when I have those gaps at the very end, I will just go back in with the brow pen and fill in those little blank spots because they're just real easy to just add a couple strokes. So if you're into brow pens, if like that's your thing, then this is a nice one. But if you're not, then you're not, and it's not your thing. That's okay. It's not really my thing. I'm much more of a pencil kind of girl. Let me add some setting spray. I also have from Milani the Make It Dewy setting spray. They also have a Make It Last setting spray that is quite popular because it's really long lasting, but it does have alcohol content in it, which helps your makeup last longer. But for me, my dry skin, I stay far, far, far away from it. The real question is, am I dewy enough? It's always the question at the end of the day. Should I add a lip gloss? I think I will. I'm gonna go in with the Natural Luster lip gloss. I just wanna add a little bit more. I'm just gonna tap it on the very center of my top and my lower lip. Yeah, that is actually everything for me today. This was a really fun video. I really like Milani. I'm really excited for the new launches that they've been bringing out and for what they're gonna bring out next and what they're gonna continue to do. I'm just excited to follow this brand in general. Give me more cream cheek products is all I have to say. You have done well with the cream blush thing. Give me cream highlighters, give me cream bronzers. Just do it, okay? I'm talking directly to you, Milani. Just do it. It's a good idea. Okay, they have beautiful products and I think you should probably check them out. Well, thank you guys so much for being here and watching this video, and I will just see you in my next video. Bye.